The cruise ship cut through the Caribbean waters, the horizon stretching endlessly into the night sky. The warm breeze carried the scent of the ocean, mingling with the sounds of laughter and chatter from the passengers. But for one family, what began as a dream vacation would soon become a nightmare. On the morning of March 23, 2023, the body of 22-year-old Emily Thompson disappeared from the deck of a luxury cruise ship. Her family was left in complete disbelief. What had started as a peaceful day at sea quickly spiraled into one of the most baffling disappearances in recent history. How could a young woman vanish from a ship that was hundreds of miles from land? Before we dive deeper into this mystery, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling true crime stories. Emily Thompson, a college student from Boston, had boarded the Ocean Star cruise with her parents, Sarah and Thomas, and her younger brother Jake. Their excitement was palpable as they set sail from Miami, ready to explore the Caribbean. The last photo they took together was at the ship's departure party, smiling faces, a perfect family moment. But by the next morning, Emily was gone. No signs of struggle, no signs of foul play, just an empty cabin and a frightened family. As the ship docked at its first port of call, the authorities were alerted. The crew had searched every corner of the vessel. Passengers had been questioned. Yet, there was no trace of Emily. Her disappearance was inexplicable, and every lead seemed to fade as quickly as it had appeared. It was the beginning of spring break, a time when young travelers flooded cruise ships to escape the cold New England weather. Emily Thompson had always been an adventurous spirit. As a psychology student at Boston University, she loved to explore new cultures and meet new people. This cruise was supposed to be a celebration of her upcoming graduation. Little did anyone know it would become a chilling mystery that would captivate the nation. The Thompson family was used to tight-knit moments and family vacations. They were close, often spending weekends hiking or taking trips to local museums. But this cruise had a different energy. The excitement was electric, and for a moment the Thompsons felt they were at peace, away from the demands of daily life. They had no idea that their daughter, sister, and friend was about to vanish into thin air. Emily had always been open about her life, constantly sharing updates with her family via text messages. But as the evening fell, her last communication was a simple, "Good night, I'm heading to bed," sent to her mother just after 11 p.m. After that, silence. At 5 a.m., Thomas Thompson was woken by an urgent knock on the door. It was the ship's security team. Emily had not shown up for breakfast. Her cabin was locked, and there was no sign of her. The worst part? Her belongings, phone, purse, and passport, were still in the room. "We've got a situation. Your daughter's missing," said the captain. "She might have fallen overboard, but we've checked. Nothing." The investigation began immediately, but it was filled with more questions than answers. The ship had surveillance cameras in several areas, but none had captured Emily after she sent that final text. No one had heard anything unusual. No screams. No signs of struggle. The only evidence, a single blurry footage of a figure walking near the deck railing, but the footage was grainy and unclear. Detective Maya Carter, an experienced investigator, was called in to join the cruise ship's onboard security team. She started reviewing the footage with an experienced eye. The figure on the video seemed to move in a way that didn't match the typical cruisegoer's pace. It was almost as if the person had been trying to remain undetected. Emily's family was in shock, struggling to process the loss. Sarah Thompson, her mother, refused to leave her daughter's cabin. She pored over the missing girl's belongings, searching for any clue. But all she found was the feeling of helplessness, the sense that something far darker was unfolding before her eyes. That night, a search party was formed. The search extended into the sea, with dozens of boats and helicopters combing the area where Emily had last been seen. But despite the best efforts, there was no sign of her in the water. Hours turned into days, and still no evidence emerged. Was it an accident? Had she fallen overboard? Or was there something more sinister at play? In the hours that followed, tensions grew between the ship's crew and the family. There were whispers of a cover-up. Crew members were questioned, but their stories didn't add up. And then, the unthinkable happened. A witness came forward claiming to have seen someone near Emily's cabin door the night she disappeared. But who was this person, and why hadn't anyone noticed? The witness's statement seemed too precise, too deliberate. Could it be a lead? Or was this a diversion? As Maya Carter pressed the witness for more details, she uncovered something that no one could have predicted, something that would turn everything they knew about Emily's disappearance on its head. The cold, dark waters of the Caribbean seemed endless as the search for Emily Thompson stretched into the third day. The search boats had returned to port, empty-handed. The helicopter's blades had cut through the air in desperate attempts to find even the faintest trace of her. But all they brought back was more silence. Inside the cruise ship's control room, Detective Maya Carter paced back and forth, her mind racing. There was no sign of Emily in the water, no clues left behind on the ship, just a growing pile of unanswered questions. Who was the mysterious figure seen on the surveillance footage? Was Emily a victim of a tragic accident, or was something far darker at play? Detective Carter, you need to see this. It was a crew member looking grave. Maya followed him into the security office where she was handed a manila folder marked with a single word: evidence. Inside were more disturbing details. The statement from the witness who claimed to have seen someone near Emily's cabin that night. The witness, a passenger named Jennifer Black, had been on the upper deck, enjoying the night breeze, when she noticed a figure standing by the railing near Emily's room. The figure appeared to be deliberately trying to hide its face, and Jennifer couldn't help but feel uneasy. The figure was tall, wore a dark jacket, and was moving with an odd gait, as if they knew someone might be watching. I saw someone, but I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, Jennifer had said, shaking as she spoke to authorities. But they were there for long enough that it made me uncomfortable. I thought I was just being paranoid, but now I'm sure it was something more. Jennifer's words held weight, but something felt off about them. Maya knew that eyewitness testimony could be unreliable. Still, the detail was too specific to ignore. Maya sat back in her chair, the weight of the situation sinking in. Why hadn't the crew noticed the figure? Why hadn't the surveillance footage captured the encounter? The ship's security team had been tight-lipped, and the family was becoming increasingly suspicious. Thomas Thompson, Emily's father, was on edge. He wanted answers, immediately. But Maya knew that everything had to be handled with care. She couldn't afford to make any missteps. Emily Thompson was an ordinary college student. She had her future ahead of her, a psychology degree in the works, and a world full of possibilities. The family had been planning this trip for months, and the excitement was palpable. Sarah, her mother, had just recently recovered from a difficult year of work stress and health concerns. This cruise was supposed to be a way to reset, to rejuvenate, to create unforgettable memories. But now, Sarah's heart was breaking. "I just want my daughter back," she whispered to Maya as they sat in Emily's empty cabin. The room was eerily untouched, the bed still made, the floor spotless. There were no signs of a struggle, no overturned furniture, nothing that would indicate a violent altercation. "Do you think she just fell overboard?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Maya replied. "That's what we're trying to figure out. But there are a lot of things that don't add up." The more Maya learned, the more suspicious the circumstances became. Emily's social media accounts, once filled with photos of her college life and travels, had gone dark the moment the cruise began. She hadn't posted a single update since setting sail. Emily's phone, which had been left behind in her cabin, contained no signs of distress or messages to anyone that might have indicated something was wrong. Her personal items were untouched, but Emily was nowhere to be found. Was she simply the victim of an accident? Or had something far more sinister occurred on board? As Maya dove deeper into the investigation, she discovered more pieces of the puzzle. It was the ship's crew member who had given Maya the first solid lead. One of the ship's security officers, Leo Simmons, had been in charge of reviewing the security footage from the night Emily disappeared. He was the one who noticed something odd, something no one else had seen. The footage, though grainy, revealed a figure walking near the deck railing, just outside of Emily's cabin. Maya watched the footage over and over, trying to make sense of it. The figure was tall, wearing a dark jacket and a baseball cap. But what stood out was how deliberate the person's movements were. They were careful, almost as if they knew exactly where the cameras were positioned. The ship's security system wasn't foolproof, but the area where the figure had been was far enough out of range for clear identification. Maya stood in the dimly lit room, her eyes fixed on the screen. This person knew where the blind spots were, she muttered under her breath. But why would they be so close to Emily's cabin? Leo, who was standing next to Maya, nodded gravely. Exactly. This wasn't a random passenger just wandering the ship. Someone was deliberately trying to avoid being seen. But the most disturbing part? The figure on the footage seemed to be heading straight toward the spot where Emily had disappeared. As Maya continued to sift through the footage, a new detail surfaced, one that sent a shiver down her spine. The figure wasn't just walking aimlessly, they were looking for something, or someone. And when Maya finally connected the dots, the shocking truth hit her. What if Emily had been the target all along? The winds were calm, but the tension aboard the Ocean Star was anything but. As the investigation into Emily Thompson's disappearance raged on, a new lead emerged, a piece of evidence that could unravel the mystery once and for all. But as Detective Maya Carter stared at the photograph in her hand, she realized that nothing would ever be the same. This discovery could change the course of the case and reveal the shocking truth behind Emily's disappearance. Detective Carter, you need to see this, Leo Simmons, the ship's security officer, said, urgency in his voice. Maya took the photo from him. It was a grainy image of the same figure from the surveillance footage, the one that had been seen near Emily's cabin the night she vanished. But this time, the figure was clearer. And in their hand, a small, familiar object. It was Emily's phone. Maya's mind raced. How could this be? Why would the figure have her phone? This was taken from the ship's lower deck, Leo continued, his face grim. One of the crew members found it, and it's clear this is Emily's phone. For a moment, Maya stood frozen. The pieces of the puzzle were slowly starting to fit together, but there was still so much she didn't know. The person in the footage, the one who had been so careful to avoid detection, had taken Emily's phone. What did that mean? As Maya sifted through the growing pile of evidence, she couldn't help but think about the strange coincidences that had started to surface. The witness, Jennifer Black, had seen the figure near Emily's cabin at precisely the time when Emily had gone missing. The blurry footage had shown the same figure, now identified as a suspect, near the railing, where the ship's blind spots made it impossible to see them clearly. Now, with the phone in their possession, Maya had to ask herself, what was the connection between this figure and Emily? The more Maya thought about it, the more questions arose. What if Emily had been the target of something planned? Was her disappearance connected to someone on the ship? And if so, who could have been responsible. There were four main suspects that stood out during Maya's investigation: the passengers, the crew, and the mysterious figure in the footage. But who had the motive? Who had the opportunity? Maya turned to the crew, questioning them one by one. Among the crew members, one name kept coming up: Marcus Rivers, the ship's lead entertainment officer. He had been in charge of organizing the cruise's activities, ensuring that guests enjoyed their time. But there was something unsettling about him. No one had seen him the night Emily disappeared. He had an alibi, but it seemed flimsy. Maya knew that alibis could be deceiving, especially in a situation like this. Then there was the passenger who had been acting strangely, someone who had been seen near the bar talking to Emily earlier that evening. His name was Robert Langston, a businessman from New York traveling alone. He had made several attempts to engage Emily in conversation, and though she had politely declined, he had continued to hang around her group. Could he have had a personal interest in her? And then there was the quiet, reserved crew member, Jordan Taylor, who had been working on the lower deck the night of the disappearance. He'd been spotted near the area where Emily's phone had been found, and no one seemed to know exactly where he had been when Emily vanished. Was he hiding something? As Maya dug deeper into the lives of these suspects, she started to piece together their movements that night. Marcus Rivers had been seen laughing with a group of guests just after dinner, but according to the crew, he had quickly disappeared after the show wrapped up. His alibi seemed weak, and the longer Maya looked into it, the more suspicious he became. Why would a cruise entertainer who was usually so friendly and approachable vanish so quickly that night? Robert Langston, the businessman, also raised red flags. He had been persistent in his attempts to talk to Emily, even though she seemed uninterested. But why? Had he been infatuated with her? Or did he have another motive? And then there was Jordan Taylor. When Maya reviewed the ship's crew schedules, she found something strange. His shift had ended 2 hours before Emily disappeared. So why was he found near the area where her phone was discovered? Could he have been the one to take it? And if so, what had he been trying to hide? The investigation seemed to be pointing to these three men, but there was still one crucial piece of evidence missing: a confession, or something to tie one of them directly to the crime. Without it, all Maya had were suspicions and a lot of unanswered questions. But as Maya prepared to confront the suspects, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source: the ship's social media team. They had been monitoring the activity on Emily's accounts, and there was one detail that had been overlooked. The day before she disappeared, Emily had posted a message on her Instagram story that had gone unnoticed until now. The message was short, but chilling. "Someone's been watching me." It was a subtle post, one that could have easily been overlooked, but now, in hindsight, it was a desperate cry for help. Could this be the key to unlocking the mystery? Was Emily trying to warn her family and friends about something, or someone, before it was too late? The ship rocked gently in the night, the sea as calm as ever. But aboard the Ocean Star, the storm of mystery was far from over. Detective Maya Carter had spent days chasing leads, following dead ends, and piecing together fragments of a puzzle that seemed impossible to solve. But in the end, it all came down to one shocking moment, one revelation that turned the case on its head. As Maya stood in front of the suspects, each with a story to tell and a secret to hide, she knew the truth was closer than ever. But would she be able to unmask the killer before it was too late? "Detective Carter, we found something," Leo Simmons said, his voice tight with urgency. Maya turned to him, her heart racing. He handed her a piece of paper, one that would change everything. It was a journal entry. But not just any journal. It was the personal diary of Robert Langston, the businessman who had been seen lingering around Emily before her disappearance. Maya quickly scanned the page. It was dated the day before Emily's disappearance. I can't stop thinking about her. I know she's not interested, but I can't help myself. There's something about her. Something I can't resist. If I can't have her, no one will. She won't leave me alone. The words were chilling. Could this be the confession they were waiting for? Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Robert Langston's obsession with Emily had escalated beyond just casual flirting. This was something far darker. The next few hours were a whirlwind. Maya's thoughts were racing, piecing together everything she had learned. Emily's cryptic message about someone watching her. Robert's diary entry, where he openly confessed to his obsession. The blurry footage of the figure near Emily's cabin. It all pointed to one person. But Maya knew she needed more than just circumstantial evidence to make an arrest. She needed a confession. And when she confronted Robert Langston in a quiet interrogation room, the walls of his carefully constructed facade began to crumble. "Robert, I have your diary," Maya began, her voice steady, though her mind was racing. "I've read your words. You were obsessed with Emily. You couldn't let her go. Tell me, what happened that night?" Robert's face was pale, his eyes darting around the room. He clenched his fists, trying to hold back tears. I didn't mean for it to happen," he stammered, his voice breaking. "She was just so beautiful. And I couldn't stop myself. She rejected me. I thought maybe if I kept pursuing her, if I showed her how much I cared, maybe she'd give me a chance." Maya's heart sank as she watched him unravel. "So you followed her? What did you do to her?" Robert's eyes welled with tears. He wiped his face, trying to compose himself. "I couldn't take it anymore. I saw her on the deck that night. She was alone. I just wanted to talk to her again. But when she told me to leave, I lost it. I pushed her. She fell." "I didn't mean to hurt her," Robert sobbed, his voice hoarse, "but she was gone. And I panicked. I didn't know what to do, so I took her phone. I thought if I could hide it, maybe no one would find out. But it all spiraled out of control. I never meant for her to die." Maya listened in silence as Robert's confession sank in. The truth was finally out. But the damage had already been done. Emily Thompson had been the victim of a twisted obsession, one that had ended tragically. As the investigation concluded, the media buzzed with news of Robert Langston's confession. The case, which had started as a simple disappearance, had now become a heartbreaking tale of obsession, rejection, and violence. Robert was arrested and charged with second-degree manslaughter, though many felt that the punishment didn't fit the crime. The Thompson family, devastated by the loss of their daughter, struggled to find closure. Sarah and Thomas Thompson held on to their daughter's memory, but they knew that nothing would ever bring her back. In the aftermath of Emily's death, the cruise line was heavily criticized for its security measures. The ship's crew had failed to protect its passengers, and the lack of surveillance in certain areas allowed a dangerous situation to escalate without anyone noticing. For Detective Maya Carter, the case had been a tough one to solve. But the hardest part wasn't the investigation. It was looking into the eyes of Emily's grieving parents, knowing that no amount of justice could bring their daughter back. And yet, as Maya closed the case file, one final thought lingered in her mind, a chilling question she couldn't shake. Was Robert the only one involved? Or was there more to the story than anyone realized? The investigation was closed, but for Maya Carter it was clear. Not every secret had been uncovered. And sometimes the truth is even darker than you could have ever imagined. This tragic event reminds us that even the safest communities are not immune to the unexpected. The story of Emily Thompson serves as a chilling reminder of how obsession can spiral into violence. What do you think happened to Emily? Was Robert Langston the only one responsible? Or is there something more to this case? Leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more chilling true crime stories, and join us next time as we dive into another mystery that will leave you questioning everything.